Have you ever met someone who seemed to arrive in your life at exactly the right moment? Not because they were perfect, and not because your journey suddenly became easy, but because their presence awakened something within you that had been waiting to be seen. We often hear people talk about soulmates, destiny, and meant to be relationships. Yet the truth is far deeper than romantic stories and fairy tales. A meaningful connection is not measured by grand promises or fleeting emotions. It is revealed through the way two people influence each other's lives, character, and spirit. When two people are truly meant to be together, life begins to leave clues. Not loud announcements, but quiet signs that speak directly to the heart. These signs are not based on luck or coincidence. They are built on growth, respect, understanding, and a bond that continues to endure through changing seasons. Today, we will explore 5 powerful things that always happen when two people are meant to walk through life together. And in doing so, we may discover that true connection is less about finding the right person and more about recognizing the rare bond that helps both people become who they were always meant to be. One of the first signs that two people are truly meant to be together is the feeling of peace they bring into each other's lives. In a world that often moves too fast, where uncertainty seems to wait around every corner, peace becomes one of the rarest gifts a person can offer. Many people mistake intensity for love. They believe that constant emotional highs and lows, endless guessing, and dramatic conflicts are proof of a deep connection. Yet the strongest relationships are rarely built on confusion. They are built on a quiet sense of knowing. When someone is right for you, their presence does not leave you questioning your worth or wondering where you stand. Instead, it creates a sense of calm that settles deep within your spirit. Peace does not mean that every day will be perfect. It does not mean there will never be disagreements or moments of frustration. Every meaningful relationship faces challenges because every human being carries different experiences, perspectives, and expectations. However, when two people are meant to be together, those challenges do not turn into endless battles. They become opportunities to understand one another more deeply. The goal is not to win an argument, but to protect the connection. Even in difficult moments, there remains a foundation of respect that prevents temporary problems from becoming permanent wounds. Think about how much energy confusion demands. It keeps people awake at night, replaying conversations and searching for hidden meanings behind words and actions. It creates doubt where trust should exist. It causes people to question themselves rather than grow into themselves. A relationship filled with constant uncertainty often feels like walking through thick fog. No matter how hard you try, you can never clearly see what lies ahead. But when two people are truly aligned, clarity begins to replace confusion. Their actions match their words. Their intentions become visible through consistency. Trust is not demanded, it is earned repeatedly through honesty and reliability. There is something powerful about being with a person who allows you to relax into your own life. You do not feel the need to constantly prove your value or compete for their attention. You are not trapped in a cycle of fear, wondering whether their affection will disappear tomorrow. Instead, you feel secure enough to focus on your own growth, dreams, and purpose. The relationship becomes a source of strength rather than a source of exhaustion. It adds to your life instead of draining it. Peace also reveals itself through acceptance. When two people are meant to be together, they do not spend all their time trying to change one another. They recognize each other's flaws, imperfections, and vulnerabilities, yet they choose understanding over criticism. They create a space where honesty can exist without fear. In such a connection, people feel seen, heard, and valued for who they truly are. That kind of acceptance is not weakness. It is one of the greatest forms of emotional strength. As the years pass, many things in life will change. Circumstances will shift, challenges will arise, and unexpected storms may appear. Yet, a relationship rooted in peace has the ability to endure these changes because it is built on something deeper than temporary emotions. It is built on trust, respect, and the confidence that neither person is trying to create confusion in the other's heart. When two people are truly meant to be together, they become a refuge from the noise of the world. And sometimes that quiet peace is the clearest sign of all that a connection is meant to last. Another sign that two people are meant to be together is that growth never belongs to just one person. In many relationships, one individual carries the weight of change while the other remains exactly the same. Over time, this creates imbalance, frustration, and distance. But when a connection is truly meant to be, both people become students and teachers in each other's lives. They do not merely share moments, they share transformation. Their relationship becomes a place where learning, healing, and becoming continue to unfold. Instead of standing in the way of each other's progress, they become a source of encouragement that helps both individuals move closer to their highest potential. Growth often begins in small and unexpected ways. It may appear through a conversation that changes a perspective, a challenge that reveals hidden strength, or a moment of support that inspires greater confidence. The right person has a way of helping you see possibilities within yourself that you may have overlooked. They recognize talents you underestimate, strengths you fail to acknowledge, and dreams you may have abandoned out of fear. Their belief in you becomes a mirror reflecting what is already there, waiting to be embraced. At the same time, you offer them the same gift. You encourage them to rise above limitations and discover abilities they never fully explored. What makes this kind of growth special is that it does not come from pressure or control. It is not about forcing someone to become who you want them to be. Genuine growth is born from inspiration, not manipulation. A meaningful relationship creates an environment where both people feel supported in their journey of self-improvement. They challenge each other, but they do so with kindness. They hold each other accountable, but they do so with respect. Their words are not meant to diminish confidence, but to strengthen character. Life has a way of testing every person. There are seasons when confidence fades, when setbacks seem overwhelming, and when the future feels uncertain. During those moments, the presence of the right person can make a profound difference. They remind you of your resilience when you feel weak. They remind you of your purpose when you feel lost. They remind you of your worth when self-doubt begins to speak louder than truth. Their support does not eliminate your struggles, but it gives you the courage to face them. Likewise, you become a source of strength during their difficult seasons. The relationship becomes a partnership where both people help carry the weight of life's challenges. An important part of growth is the willingness to evolve together. People change as they move through life. Their experiences shape them, their priorities shift, and their understanding deepens. Relationships often struggle when one person grows while the other resists change. However, when two people are meant to be together, they understand that growth is not a threat to the relationship. It is a gift to it. They make room for each other's evolution. They celebrate progress instead of fearing it. They understand that becoming a better person does not create distance. It creates new opportunities for connection. There is also humility in this kind of bond. Neither person believes they have all the answers. Both remain open to learning from one another. They listen as much as they speak. They seek understanding rather than superiority. This mutual respect allows wisdom to flow in both directions. One person may offer patience while the other teaches courage. One may bring stability while the other inspires adventure. Together they help balance each other's weaknesses and strengthen each other's virtues. As time passes, the evidence of this growth becomes impossible to ignore. They become more compassionate, more confident, more self-aware, and more capable because of the positive influence they have had on one another. Their relationship is not merely measured by how long they stay together, but by who they become because they walked the journey side by side. When two people are truly meant to be together, their connection does more than make life enjoyable. It helps each person grow into a wiser, stronger, and more authentic version of themselves, and that growth becomes one of the clearest signs that their bond was never meant to remain ordinary. One of the most revealing signs that two people are meant to be together appears when life places distance between them. Most people believe that a strong connection is only proven when two individuals are constantly together, sharing every moment and every experience. But life does not always move according to our plans. There are seasons when circumstances create separation. Sometimes it is caused by responsibilities, personal growth, unexpected challenges, or paths that temporarily move in different directions. In those moments, the true nature of a relationship begins to reveal itself. A connection built only on convenience often fades when distance appears. A connection rooted in something deeper learns how to endure. Separation has a unique way of teaching lessons that closeness sometimes cannot. When people are always together, it is easy to take certain things for granted. Presence becomes expected. Conversations become routine. Small acts of kindness can go unnoticed, but distance has a way of sharpening appreciation. It reminds people of the value they bring to each other's lives. It highlights the qualities that may have been overlooked during ordinary days. What once seemed common suddenly becomes precious. Through absence, people often gain a clearer understanding of what truly matters. Yet separation is not only about appreciation, it is also about personal growth. There are lessons every individual must learn on their own. No matter how much two people care for each other, there are battles that cannot be fought by someone else. There are experiences that shape character, build wisdom, and develop strength. When two people are meant to be together, they understand that growth sometimes requires space. Instead of viewing distance as an enemy, they recognize it as part of the journey. They trust that what is genuine does not disappear simply because circumstances have changed. This does not mean separation is easy. It can be painful. It can bring moments of loneliness, uncertainty, and longing. Human beings naturally desire connection, and being apart from someone important often leaves an empty space in the heart. But there is a difference between a separation that weakens a bond and one that strengthens it. A weak bond becomes consumed by fear. Every challenge feels like proof that the relationship is ending. Every obstacle creates greater doubt. A strong bond, however, develops resilience. It learns patience. It learns trust. It learns that meaningful connections are not measured solely by physical proximity, but by emotional depth and commitment. During periods of distance, people often discover more about themselves. They learn who they are outside of the relationship. They gain a deeper understanding of their values, goals, and purpose. This self-discovery becomes important because healthy relationships are not built upon dependency. They are built upon two complete individuals choosing to walk together. When separation leads to greater self-awareness, both people eventually return to the relationship with more wisdom and maturity than they had before. There is also a quiet beauty in knowing that someone remains significant even when they are not standing beside you. Their influence continues to guide your decisions. Their encouragement echoes in your mind during difficult moments. The lessons they shared remain with you. In this way, true connection transcends distance. It becomes part of who you are. The bond continues to live within your actions, your thoughts, and your growth. Many of the strongest relationships are not those that never faced challenges. They are the ones that survived them. They are the ones that endured periods of uncertainty and emerged with greater understanding. Distance often strips away illusions and reveals what is real. If a connection is based only on convenience, separation exposes its weakness. But if it is built on respect, trust, and genuine care, separation often reveals its strength. As time passes, those who are meant to be together often look back on seasons of distance and realize that what once felt like an obstacle was actually a teacher. The separation taught patience when impatience seemed easier. It taught trust when fear was tempting. It taught gratitude when familiarity had hidden the value of the relationship. Most importantly, it taught both people that genuine connections are not destroyed by every challenge they encounter. Instead, they are refined by them. When two people are truly meant to be together, separation does not always pull them apart. Sometimes it gives them exactly the lessons they need to appreciate, understand, and cherish each other more deeply than ever before. There comes a point in a meaningful connection when pretending no longer has any place between two people. It is not something that is forced or announced. It simply unfolds over time, quietly and naturally, until both individuals realize they no longer feel the need to hide who they are. Authenticity becomes effortless. There is no longer a performance to maintain, no carefully constructed version of self that must be presented to gain acceptance. Instead, there is a simple and powerful sense of being fully seen and still fully accepted. In many relationships, people begin by showing only what they believe will be approved. They edit their thoughts, soften their emotions, and sometimes even silence their truths. They do this out of fear, fear of rejection, fear of misunderstanding, fear of not being enough. Over time, this creates distance within the relationship itself, even when two people are physically close. Because when someone cannot be fully themselves, a part of them always remains absent. But when a connection is real and meant to be, that fear begins to dissolve. The need for masks slowly fades because acceptance becomes more powerful than judgment. Authenticity in a meaningful relationship does not mean perfection is required. It means imperfection is allowed. It means there is space for honesty, even when the truth is uncomfortable. It means a person can express sadness without being told to hide it, can share dreams without being laughed at, and can reveal weaknesses without fear of being diminished. In such an environment, vulnerability is not punished, it is respected. And when vulnerability is respected, trust begins to deepen in ways that cannot be easily broken. There is a quiet relief that comes with being fully seen. It feels like putting down a weight that was never meant to be carried forever. There is no longer a need to constantly calculate words or monitor behavior just to maintain connection. Instead, communication becomes natural, laughter becomes genuine, silence becomes comfortable rather than awkward. Two people begin to exist with each other in a way that feels less like effort and more like ease. What makes this kind of connection powerful is not that differences disappear, but that differences are no longer threatening. Each person is allowed to be fully themselves, with their own thoughts, habits, emotions, and perspectives. There is no demand to become identical, only an understanding that individuality does not weaken the bond, it strengthens it. In fact, it is often those differences that bring balance, depth, and richness into the relationship. Over time, authenticity creates a kind of emotional safety that cannot be easily explained but is deeply felt. It becomes clear that there is no version of yourself you need to hide in order to be valued. You are not loved for the image you present, but for the person you truly are. And that understanding changes everything. It removes the pressure of perfection and replaces it with the comfort of acceptance. When two people are meant to be together, they begin to notice that they are not exhausted by pretending anymore. They are not constantly trying to impress or prove. Instead, they are simply present with each other. They can speak freely, disagree respectfully, and still remain connected without fear of losing what they have. Authenticity becomes the foundation on which everything else is built. And perhaps the most powerful part of this truth is that it allows both individuals to grow without losing themselves. They are not shaped by expectation, but supported in their individuality. They are not forced into roles that feel unnatural, but encouraged to be real in every moment. In that kind of space, love stops being something that requires performance and becomes something that simply exists, steady and honest, without disguise. Even in the most meaningful connections, there will be moments when two people do not fully understand each other. Words may be spoken in haste, emotions may rise like unexpected storms, and silence may settle between them like a heavy cloud. Yet what separates a fragile bond from a lasting one is not the absence of disagreement, but the presence of respect, even in the middle of it. When two people are truly meant to be together, they do not allow temporary emotions to destroy the dignity of what they are building. They may disagree, but they do not diminish each other. Respect in difficult times is not loud or dramatic. It does not always announce itself with grand gestures. Often it is quiet. It is found in the choice to listen instead of interrupt, in the decision to pause rather than wound, in the willingness to understand rather than immediately defend. There is strength in a person who can feel deeply but still choose restraint. There is wisdom in a heart that refuses to turn disagreement into disrespect. In such moments, love is not proven by perfection, but by control, patience, and care. Many relationships struggle not because conflict exists, but because respect disappears when conflict arrives. When emotions take over without guidance, words become weapons instead of bridges. Things are said that cannot easily be taken back, and slowly, distance begins to form not from the disagreement itself, but from the damage it leaves behind. But when two people are meant to be together, even in the middle of misunderstanding, there remains a quiet awareness. This person is still important to me. That awareness becomes a shield that prevents temporary pain from becoming permanent harm. Respect also reveals itself in the ability to see a person beyond the moment of conflict. No one is defined by their worst reaction or their most emotional response. When the heart is calm again, a deeper understanding returns. The right connection allows space for this return. It does not rush to judgment. It does not reduce a person to a single mistake or a single argument. Instead, it remembers the full story, the kindness shared, the support given, the journey walked together. In this way, respect becomes a form of emotional memory that protects the relationship from collapsing under pressure. There is also a quiet maturity in choosing not to win at the cost of hurting someone you care about. In many arguments, the real victory is not proving a point, but preserving the bond. When two people are meant to be together, they begin to understand that being right is never more important than being kind. They learn that words can either heal or harm, and they become more careful with what they choose to say when emotions are high. This does not mean they avoid truth, but that they deliver it with awareness and compassion. Over time, this kind of respect becomes the foundation of emotional safety. It creates a space where both people can express themselves without fear of humiliation or rejection. They know that even in disagreement, their worth will not be questioned. That understanding allows honesty to exist without fear and vulnerability to exist without defense. It is in this safety that deeper connection is formed, not through constant agreement, but through consistent care. When two people are truly meant to be together, respect becomes the quiet agreement that no matter what moment they are in, they will not forget the value of the bond they share. Arguments may come and go, emotions may rise and fall, but dignity remains. And in that dignity, the relationship finds its strength, not because it never bends, but because it never breaks what truly matters between them. There is a moment in every meaningful connection when the success of one person no longer feels like something separate, but something shared in spirit. When two people are truly meant to be together, the rise of one does not create distance between them. It creates joy that naturally flows in both directions. Instead of comparison, there is admiration. Instead of insecurity, there is pride. And instead of silent resentment, there is a deep and sincere celebration of each other's growth and achievements. In many relationships, success can quietly become a dividing line. One person may begin to feel left behind while the other moves forward. Without awareness, comparison starts to replace connection. But when a bond is rooted in something deeper than ego, success is no longer a competition. It becomes evidence of shared strength. It becomes a reflection of encouragement that has been given, support that has been offered, and belief that has been held even during uncertain times. There is a rare kind of love that does not shrink when the other person expands. It does not feel threatened when dreams are fulfilled or goals are achieved. Instead, it finds joy in witnessing that growth. When two people are meant to be together, they begin to understand that what lifts one person also lifts the connection itself. Every achievement becomes something that adds to the story they are building, rather than taking anything away from it. Genuine celebration is not loud or forced. It is not about performance or appearance. It is something deeper, something felt in the heart long before it is expressed in words. It shows up in the way a person listens with pride when good news is shared. It is present in the smile that carries no hidden doubt. It is found in the willingness to stand beside someone in their moment of achievement without needing to diminish it in any way. That kind of joy cannot be faked because it is rooted in emotional security. When jealousy is absent, love becomes lighter. There is no need to measure worth against each other's progress. There is no silent competition about who is doing better or moving faster. Instead, there is a shared understanding that life does not move at the same pace for everyone, and that timing is never a reflection of value. This understanding creates space for patience, encouragement, and genuine happiness when good things arrive. There is also a quiet strength in being able to celebrate someone else without feeling diminished. It requires a sense of inner stability, a confidence that does not depend on comparison. When two people are meant to be together, they help build this strength in each other. They remind one another that success is not limited, that one person's growth does not reduce the other's worth, and that life has room for both of them to flourish in different ways. Over time, this kind of support becomes one of the most beautiful parts of the relationship. Achievements are no longer carried alone. They are shared, acknowledged, and honored. Even small victories are valued because both people understand the effort behind them. Dreams are not met with doubt, but with encouragement, and progress is not met with silence, but with appreciation. In such a connection, love becomes a source of empowerment rather than limitation. Each person feels safer to dream bigger, try harder, and aim higher, knowing there is someone who will not only stand beside them in difficult moments, but will also celebrate them in their brightest ones. And when two people can sincerely rejoice in each other's success without fear or insecurity, it becomes one of the clearest signs that their bond was never meant to compete, but to complete a journey of growth together. There is also a sense of direction that comes with shared values. Life becomes less about pulling in opposite directions and more about walking side by side toward a similar understanding of what a meaningful life looks like. Dreams may differ in form, but not in purpose. One person may want to build, while the other wants to nurture. One may seek stability, while the other seeks growth. Yet both are moving toward a life that feels purposeful, respectful, and grounded in something real. Over time, this alignment becomes a guiding force. It influences decisions, shapes priorities, and strengthens the connection even during uncertainty. When challenges appear, it is not only emotion that holds two people together, but the deeper recognition that they are rooted in similar truths about life. When two people are truly meant to be together, their values do not need to be identical in every detail, but they must resonate in the places that matter most. And in that resonance, there is a quiet assurance that even as life changes, their direction remains connected, steady, and meaningfully shared.